They say every woman dreams of being chosen. That being claimed by a powerful alpha is the highest honor a wolf can receive. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes being chosen feels less like destiny and more like a death sentence. My name is Sera, and tonight, under the blood moon, I'm supposed to stand in the claiming circle and accept whichever alpha's mark burns brightest on my skin. It's tradition. It's sacred. It's supposed to be the moment that defines my entire existence. Which is exactly why I'm running through the Blackwood Forest at midnight with nothing but the clothes on my back and terror clawing at my throat. The trees here are ancient, twisted things that seem to lean in as I pass, their branches reaching like skeletal fingers. No one comes to the Blackwood. Not anymore. Not since the curse took root 20 years ago, turning the forest into something hungry, something aware. But I'd rather face whatever darkness lurks in these woods than stand in that circle and feel the wrongness of a bond that isn't meant for me. My lungs burn. My feet are bleeding, the delicate slippers I wore for the ceremony shredded by roots and stones. Behind me, I can hear the hunting howls. They've noticed I'm gone. I push deeper into the forest, into the shadows where the moonlight can't reach. The air grows colder, thicker. I can feel the curse watching me, weighing me, deciding if I'm worth consuming. And that's when I see him. He's standing in a clearing where no clearing should exist, lit by a strange silver glow that doesn't come from the moon. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair that falls into eyes the color of molten amber. He's wearing nothing but torn pants, his chest bare and marked with scars that tell stories of violence and survival. He looks wild, dangerous. Powerful in a way that makes every instinct I have scream at me to run. But I can't move. Because I can feel it. That pull. That impossible, undeniable recognition. "You're not supposed to be here," he says, his voice rough like gravel and smoke. I force myself to breathe. "Neither are you." His mouth curves into something that might be a smile if it weren't so sharp. "No, I'm definitely not supposed to be here." He takes a step closer, and I notice the way the forest seems to bend around him, the curse pulling back like it's afraid. But then again, I'm not supposed to exist at all. That's when I see the mark on his shoulder. The brand of exile. The symbol that marks him as cast out, forbidden, condemned to wander until the curse takes him. I've just run from one claiming straight into the arms of another. And this time, there's nowhere left to run. "You need to leave." My voice comes out steadier than I feel. "The hunting party will be here soon. They'll kill you on sight." The exiled alpha tilts his head, studying me with an intensity that makes my skin heat. "Will they? Or will they kill you for running from the ceremony?" I flinch. He's right, of course. By fleeing the claiming, I've committed the worst offense a female wolf can make. I've rejected the will of the pack, refused the sacred bond. The punishment for that is death. Or worse. Being made an example of. "Why did you run?" he asks, moving closer. The silver light follows him, and I realize it's not coming from the forest at all. It's coming from him. From his skin. Most wolves would give anything to be claimed. Most wolves don't know what I know. The words slip out before I can stop them. His amber eyes sharpen. "And what do you know, little wolf?" I shouldn't tell him. Shouldn't trust him. He's exiled for a reason. Branded. Cast out. Everything I've been taught says he's dangerous, cursed, wrong. But something in his gaze makes me feel seen in a way I never have before. Like he's looking past the obedient pack daughter, past the perfect wolf maiden, straight to the terrified woman beneath. "The claiming isn't what they say it is," I whisper. "It's not about fate or destiny. It's about power. Control." I wrap my arms around myself, suddenly cold. The alphas in my pack, they've been using dark magic. Binding females to them against their nature. Forcing bonds that aren't meant to exist. The exile goes very still. When he speaks again, his voice is deadly quiet. "How long has this been happening?" "Years. Maybe decades." I meet his eyes. "My sister was claimed 3 years ago. She used to be vibrant, full of life. Now she's hollow. A shell. She does whatever her alpha commands without question, without thought. She's not bonded. She's enslaved." A low growl rumbles through his chest, and the forest around us shivers in response. The trees bend further back, the darkness retreating from the silver glow of his skin. "And you figured this out how?" he asks. "I heard them talking. The pack elders." My hands are shaking now, the memory of that night still vivid. They were laughing about it. About how the females never suspect, how they go into the ceremony thinking they'll find their true mate and come out bound to whoever pays the highest price. "So you ran." "So I ran." I laugh, but it's bitter. "Into a cursed forest. To hide from a false claiming. And now I'm going to die here anyway because I'm too weak to survive on my own and too stubborn to go back." The exile is silent for a long moment. Then he does something I don't expect. He laughs. It's a dark sound, rough and unused, but genuine. "Weak? Little wolf, do you know what it takes to enter the Blackwood voluntarily? Do you know how many seasoned warriors have tried and failed to make it past the first quarter mile?" I blink at him. "But the curse. The curse is real," he confirms. "It feeds on fear. On doubt. On wolves who don't know who they are." His amber eyes lock onto mine. "You made it to the heart of the forest. Alone. On a blood moon. That's not weakness." Something warm unfurls in my chest. Hope, maybe. Or just the dangerous feeling of being understood. "What's your name?" I ask quietly. "Kael." He says it like it costs him something. "And before you ask, yes, I'm the Kael. The one your pack tells stories about to scare children into obedience." I've heard the stories. Everyone has. Kael Blackwood, the youngest alpha to ever take control of a pack. Brilliant. Ruthless. Powerful enough to challenge the High Council itself. And then he was exiled. Branded. Condemned to wander the cursed forest until it consumed him. "Why were you exiled?" The question slips out before I can stop it. His expression darkens. "Because I asked too many questions. Because I challenged a system that was rotten at its core." He looks at me, and there's something raw in his gaze. "Because I refused to participate in a claiming ceremony that I knew was wrong." My breath catches. "You knew." I suspected. But I couldn't prove it. Not in time. His jaw clenches. "They exiled me before I could expose them. Sent me here to die, to become another cautionary tale about what happens when you defy tradition. But you didn't die." "No." His mouth curves into that sharp smile again. "I made a deal with the curse instead." Before I can ask what that means, a howl pierces the night. Closer than before. The hunting party has entered the forest. Kael's hand shoots out, catching my wrist. His skin is impossibly warm against mine, and the moment we touch, something electric passes between us. A jolt of recognition that makes us both freeze. "They'll find us if we stay here," he says, his voice rougher than before. "Where can we go? The curse doesn't touch me anymore. And if you stay close, it won't touch you either." He's already moving, pulling me deeper into the forest, into the silver-lit shadows. "Trust me, Sera." I never told him my name. But I follow him anyway, because the alternative is going back. And I'd rather die in this cursed forest than live as a slave in my own pack. Kael leads me through the forest with the confidence of someone who knows every route, every shadow, every secret the Blackwood holds. The hunting howls fade behind us, growing distant and confused. The curse is protecting us, I realize. Hiding us. We finally stop in front of what looks like a solid wall of thorns and twisted vines. Kael places his palm against it, and the barrier shimmers, then parts like a curtain. Behind it is a cabin. It's small, made of dark wood that seems to grow directly from the forest floor. Soft light glows from the windows, warm and inviting in a way that feels impossible given where we are. "You live here," I breathe. "In the heart of the curse." I don't just live here. Kael guides me inside, and the warmth hits me immediately. There's a fire crackling in the hearth, shelves lined with books, furs spread across a large bed in the corner. I am here. The curse and I, we're bound now. Connected. I turn to face him, really looking at him for the first time in the firelight. The silver glow is still there, pulsing beneath his skin like a second heartbeat. His scars aren't just random marks. They form patterns, symbols I don't recognize, but that make my wolf stir uneasily. "What did you do?" I whisper. Kael moves to the fire, adding wood with practiced ease. The curse was meant to consume me, to break me down until there was nothing left. But I refused to break. He glances at me over his shoulder. So instead, I absorbed it, took it into myself, made it mine. That's impossible. Most things are until they're not. He straightens, and in the firelight, he looks less like an exiled wolf and more like something ancient, powerful, other. The curse is just concentrated magic that's gone wild. It needed an anchor, a purpose. I gave it one. What purpose? To protect those who don't belong to the pack system. The rogues. The exiles. The ones running from false bonds and corrupt alphas. His amber eyes find mine. The ones like you. My throat tightens. How many? You're the first to make it this far. He crosses to a small kitchen area, pulling out bread and cheese. Most turn back before the forest accepts them. Or the hunting parties catch them. Or they give up and return to their packs. But not you. But not me. He sets the food on a rough wooden table. Eat. You've been running for hours. I should be cautious. Should question everything. But my body is screaming with exhaustion and hunger, and the bread smells like heaven. I sink into a chair and tear into it, dignity forgotten. Kael watches me with an expression I can't read. You said the alphas in your pack are using dark magic. Do you know what kind? I swallow. Blood binding. They take the female's essence during the ceremony and twist it, forcing a connection that mimics a true mate bond. The female thinks she's found her destined partner, but really, she's been enslaved. His hands clench into fists. That's old magic. Forbidden for centuries because of what it does to the soul. He leans forward. The females who are bound this way, do they ever recover? I think of my sister's empty eyes. No. The word hangs between us, heavy with all the implications it carries. If my pack is using blood binding, if this has been happening for years or decades, then there are dozens of women trapped in false bonds. Women who think they're fulfilled when they're actually dying inside. I tried to tell people, I continue quietly. My mother. My friends. But no one believed me. They said I was jealous. Scared of commitment. Making excuses because I didn't want to be claimed. But you're not scared of commitment. Kael's voice is certain. You're scared of slavery. There's a difference. Yes. The word comes out as a relieved exhale. Thank you for understanding. I understand more than you know, little wolf. He stands, moving to the window. The silver glow pulses brighter for a moment. The exile wasn't just about defying the council. It was about refusing to claim a female I knew wasn't my mate. They wanted me to participate in the blood-binding ceremony. To set an example for other alphas. But you refused. But I refused. He turns back to me, and there's something fierce in his expression. Because even if it cost me everything, even if it meant exile and death and becoming part of this curse, I wouldn't force that on anyone. I wouldn't steal someone's free will for the sake of tradition or power. The firelight casts shadows across his scarred chest, and I find myself wanting to trace those marks with my fingers. To understand the story they tell. To know this male who gave up everything rather than perpetuate a lie. The hunting party, I say, forcing myself to focus. They'll search all night. What happens when they don't find me? They'll assume the curse took you. Kael moves closer, his presence overwhelming in the small space. They'll tell your pack you died running from destiny. A warning to others who might think of defying tradition. So I'm dead to them. You're free of them. He crouches in front of my chair, bringing us eye level. You can stay here, Sera. The curse will hide you. Protect you. You'll never have to go back. It sounds like salvation. Like everything I've been desperately hoping for. So why does it also feel like a cage? I can't hide forever, I whisper. My sister is still back there. Other females are still being bound. Someone has to stop this. Kael's eyes search mine. Someone has to survive first. You can't help anyone if you're dead. I know. My voice breaks. I feel so helpless. So useless. I ran away and left them all behind. You're not useless. His hand comes up, almost touching my face, but stopping just short. You're the first person in 20 years to see through the lie. To question the system. To choose freedom over false security. His voice drops lower. Do you know how rare that is? How brave. The way he's looking at me makes it hard to breathe. Like I'm something precious. Worth protecting. Worth believing in. Kael, I start, but I don't know how to finish. His amber eyes drop to my lips, then back up. You should rest. We'll figure out what to do in the morning. He stands, putting distance between us, and I feel the loss of his nearness like a physical ache. The bed is yours, he continues, nodding toward the large fur-covered surface in the corner. I'll keep watch. I can't take your bed. You can and you will. His tone brooks no argument. You've been running through a cursed forest in ceremonial slippers. You need sleep. I want to argue more, but exhaustion is crashing over me in waves now that the adrenaline is fading. I make my way to the bed, and the moment I sink into the furs, I understand why Kael was so insistent. It's impossibly comfortable, warm and soft and smelling like pine and something uniquely him. I should feel awkward, sleeping in a strange male's bed. Should feel vulnerable. But instead, I feel safe. As my eyes drift closed, I hear Kael moving around the cabin, adding wood to the fire, checking the windows. The domestic sounds are soothing in a way I never expected. Kael, I murmur into the darkness. Yes, thank you for not sending me away. There's a long pause. Then, so quietly I almost miss it, I couldn't send you away if I tried, little wolf. You're already under my protection, whether you know it or not. I want to ask what he means, but sleep is pulling me under, warm and irresistible. And for the first time in months, I don't dream of the claiming ceremony. I dream of amber eyes and silver light and the feeling of being found. I wake to sunlight streaming through the cabin windows and the smell of something cooking. For a moment, I'm disoriented, unsure where I am. Then memory crashes back, the forest, the exile, the revelation about Kael. I sit up, and that's when I notice it. The mark on my wrist. It's small, delicate, like a tattoo of silver vines wrapping around my pulse point. But I know I didn't have it yesterday. I run my fingers over it, and warmth spreads up my arm. It appeared around dawn. I jump. Kael is standing by the stove, shirtless, his scarred chest on full display in the morning light. Without the silver glow, he looks more human, but no less dangerous. What is it? I touch the mark again, and that warmth intensifies. Protection. He plates what looks like eggs and wild herbs. The curse recognized you as under my care. It's marked you so it won't try to consume you. The curse can do that? The curse can do a lot of things when properly directed. He sets the plate in front of me. Eat. I should have more questions. Should be alarmed by the mysterious mark now decorating my skin. But the eggs smell amazing, and my stomach reminds me I haven't had a proper meal in over a day. Kael watches me eat with that same intense focus from last night. It should make me self-conscious, but instead, it makes me feel attended to, cared for. You said the curse needed an anchor, I say between bites. What did you anchor it to? He's quiet for a long moment. Then, my rage. I pause mid-bite. Your rage. When they exiled me, I was furious. At the injustice. At my own helplessness. At a system that valued tradition over truth. He moves to the window, staring out at the forest. The curse feeds on negative emotion. Usually, it devours the person feeling it. But my rage was so pure, so focused, that instead of consuming me, it recognized a kindred spirit. So you and the curse are partners. Of a sort. He glances back at me. It gives me power. I give it purpose. We're bound together until death. There's something he's not saying. I can feel it in the careful way he's choosing his words. What's the cost? I ask quietly. His jaw tightens. I can never leave the forest. If I cross the boundary, the curse will collapse inward and destroy everything in its path. Including me. The implication settles over me like a weight. Kael saved himself from being consumed, but in doing so, he imprisoned himself. Turned his exile into something permanent. That's why you can't help me expose the pack, I realize. You're trapped here. Yes. Then I'll do it. The decision crystallizes as I say it. I'll find proof. I'll bring it to the High Council. I'll You'll be killed the moment you set foot outside this forest. Kael turns from the window, and there's something fierce in his expression. Do you think they don't have wolves watching the boundary? Waiting for you to emerge? Then what am I supposed to do? Frustration bubbles up. Hide here forever? Let my sister and all those other females rot in false bonds because I'm too scared to fight. I didn't say don't fight. He crosses to me, and the air between us charges with that same electric awareness from last night. I said don't walk into an obvious trap. Then what do you suggest? Kael crouches in front of me again, bringing us eye level. I suggest we work together. You have inside knowledge of how the blood binding works. I have 20 years of research into dark magic and pack politics. His amber eyes are intense. Between us, we might actually have a chance. But you can't leave the forest. No, but you can. And with my mark on you, the curse will let you come and go as you please. He taps the silver vines on my wrist. You'll be able to move between the packlands and the forest without being detected. Hope flares in my chest. You do that? Trust me with that kind of access. Sera. He says my name like a prayer. I trusted you the moment you walked into my clearing. When the curse brought you to me instead of consuming you. His hand hovers near my face again, not quite touching. You're packed to me now. Even if you're packless everywhere else. The words hit me with unexpected force. Packed to me. After a lifetime of not quite fitting, of always being on the outside even when surrounded by wolves, this exile is offering me belonging. I know you ran into a cursed forest rather than accept a false bond. His voice is certain. I know you recognize the blood binding for what it was when no one else did. I know you're willing to risk everything to save females you've never even met. Finally, his fingers brush my cheek. That's all I need to know. The touch sends sparks racing across my skin. My wolf surges forward, recognizing something in him that makes her want to submit and fight and claim all at once. Kael, I breathe, but I don't know what I'm asking for. He does, though. He always seems to know. If I kiss you right now, he says, his voice rough, it won't be because of false magic or blood binding or anything except that I want to. Because you're brave and fierce and you taste like freedom. His thumb traces my lower lip. But I need you to understand something first. What? I'm not a good male, Sera. I'm vengeful and violent, and I've done things that would make you run if you knew. His amber eyes burn into mine. But I would never force you. Never bind you. Never take your choice away. So if this happens, it's because you want it. Not because you feel obligated or grateful or scared. My heart is hammering so hard I'm sure he can hear it. And if I do want it? His answering smile is sharp and possessive and makes heat pool low in my belly. Then I suggest you hold on, little wolf. Because I've been alone in this forest for 20 years, and you're the first thing that's made me feel alive since the day they branded me. He kisses me then, and it's nothing like the claiming kisses I've witnessed at ceremonies. Those were performances, displays of dominance and possession. This is claiming of a different sort. It's fierce and demanding but also questioning, giving me space to respond or retreat as I choose. His hand slides into my hair, tilting my head back, and I open for him with a sound that's half gasp, half plea. He tastes like pine and smoke and wild things. Like the forest itself has taken form and decided to devour me whole. But I'm not afraid. I kiss him back with everything I have, pouring my fear and hope and desperate need into the connection. When we finally break apart, we're both breathing hard. His forehead rests against mine, and the silver glow is back, pulsing in time with our racing hearts. Well, he says, voice wrecked. That's unfortunate. I blink, the words dousing some of my heat. Unfortunate. He pulls back enough to meet my eyes, and what I see there makes my breath catch. Wonder. Recognition. Dread. You're my mate, he says simply. My true mate. Not bound by blood magic or forced ceremony, but by something older and more powerful than any curse. The world tilts. That's not possible. True mates are rare. 1 in 1,000 wolves find each other. He stands abruptly, pacing to the window. And when they do, the bond is undeniable. Permanent. Unbreakable. I should be thrilled. Should be celebrating. This is what every wolf dreams of, finding their true mate, the one soul meant to complete theirs. But Kael looks like I've just delivered a death sentence. You don't want this, I realize, the words coming out flat. You don't want me. Don't want you. He spins back, and the raw emotion on his face is almost too much to witness. Sera, I've been half alive for 20 years. Going through motions. Existing, but not living. And then you stumble into my forest, all defiance and fear and fierce hope, and suddenly I remember what it feels like to breathe. He crosses back to me in 2 long strides. I want you so badly it terrifies me. Then why do you look like this is a tragedy? His hands frame my face, gentle despite the intensity in his eyes. Because true mates are bound together, Sera. Not by magic. By nature itself. Which means if one dies, the other follows. And I'm cursed. Imprisoned in this forest. Tied to dark magic that could consume us both if I'm not careful. His voice cracks. I've just found you, and I'm already terrified of losing you. The fear beneath his words breaks something open in my chest. This fierce, powerful male who absorbed a curse and turned it into armor is scared. Of hurting me. Of failing me. Of the bond that's supposed to be a gift feeling like another exile. I reach up, covering his hands with mine. Then we don't lose each other. We fight for this. Together. Sera, you said I'm packed to you now. You said we'd work together to expose the blood binding. I stand, bringing us chest to chest. The mate bond doesn't change that. It makes it stronger. It makes you a target. His voice is anguished. The moment they find out you're mated to me, they'll use you to get to me. Or worse, they'll try to break the bond. Let them try. The words come out with more confidence than I feel. I didn't run into a cursed forest just to live in fear. And I didn't find my true mate just to hide from what that means. Kael stares at me like I've just performed a miracle. Then he laughs, that same rough and used sound from last night. You're going to be the death of me, he says, but there's no heat in it. Only wonder. Or the life of you. I smile up at him. Guess we'll find out together. He kisses me again, softer this time. Sweet and claiming and full of promise. And outside the cabin, the curse pulses with silver light, recognizing the bond forming between its anchor and his mate. The forest has a new purpose now. Not just protection for the lost and exiled, but vengeance for those who would dare threaten what's ours. The next 3 days blur together in a haze of planning, preparation, and stolen moments that make my chest ache with how right this feels. Kael teaches me about the blood-binding magic, where it comes from, how it works, what ingredients are required. I share everything I know about my pack's hierarchy, their secrets, their schedules. And between the strategy sessions, we learn each other. I discover that Kael wakes before dawn, that he's gentle despite his power, that he laughs more than I expected for someone who's been alone for so long. He learns that I sing when I'm nervous, that I'm stubborn to a fault, that I can't cook to save my life, but I'm excellent at research. The mate bond settles between us like a living thing, warm and constant and utterly terrifying in its intensity. On the 4th morning, I wake to find Kael already dressed, his expression grim. It's time, he says. My stomach drops. The pack? The blood moon is in 3 days. That's when they'll hold the next claiming ceremony. He hands me a simple leather pack. You need to go back. Observe the preparations. Find physical evidence of the blood magic. I knew this was coming. We'd planned for it. But the thought of leaving the safety of the forest of Kael makes my wolf howl in protest. What if they catch me? I ask. They won't. He touches the silver mark on my wrist. This will hide you from their senses. Make you seem like just another packless wolf passing through. His jaw clenches. But you have to be careful. The mark will only work if you don't draw attention to yourself. I'll be careful. And if anything goes wrong, I'll run back to the forest. I place my hand over his heart, feeling the steady beat. I'll come back to you. He pulls me against him, fierce and desperate. You'd better. Because if you don't, I'll burn their pack to the ground and salt the earth where it stood. The violent promise should scare me. Instead, it makes me feel cherished. Protected. Claimed in a way that has nothing to do with magic and everything to do with the male who's decided I'm worth his rage. I kiss him one more time, trying to memorize the taste of him, the feel of his hands in my hair, the way he holds me like I'm something precious. I love you, I whisper against his lips. He goes very still. Then, say it again. I love you, Kael. True-mate bond or not, curse or not, exile or not. I love you. His kiss is devastating. When he pulls back, his eyes are bright with unshed emotion. I've waited 20 years to hear those words, he says hoarsely. And I'll wait 20 more if it means keeping you safe. You won't have to wait. I step back before I lose my courage. I'll be back before the blood moon. With proof. And then we'll end this. I leave the cabin, leave the clearing, leave the silver-lit safety of Kael's protection. The curse parts before me, recognizing the mark on my wrist, and I step through the boundary into the pack lands. Immediately, I feel the wrongness. The air here is thick, oppressive, heavy with dark magic that makes my skin crawl. How had I never noticed before? How had I lived in this corruption and thought it was normal? I keep my head down, moving through the territory like I belong there. The mark on my wrist pulses gently, a constant reminder that I'm protected, that Kael is with me even from a distance. I make it to the pack house undetected and slip in through a servant's entrance. The preparations for the claiming ceremony are already underway, white silk banners, ceremonial candles, the stone circle being cleansed with smoke and prayer. Everything looks sacred and pure and right. Everything is a lie. I move through the house like a ghost, listening at doors, peeking into rooms, searching for anything that will prove what I know. But the pack elders are careful. Any evidence is hidden, locked away where curious eyes can't find it. I'm about to give up, to retreat and regroup, when I hear voices coming from the council chamber. 3 more females this month. Young ones. Moldable. My blood runs cold. I press myself against the wall, hidden in shadow, and peer through the cracked door. Inside, I see them. The pack elders. My father among them. And at the head of the table, the High Alpha himself, the male who rules not just my pack, but half the territory. The Blackwood exile is becoming a problem, one of the elders says. Word is spreading that he survived. That the curse didn't break him. Let them talk. The High Alpha's voice is smooth, cultured, the kind that makes people trust him. One rogue alpha in a cursed forest is no threat to us. He can't leave. Can't challenge us. He's impotent. But the girl, my father interjects. Sera. She ran to him. What if she tells him about the blood binding? Then we'll deal with it. The High Alpha stands, and I see him for the first time. He's younger than I expected, handsome in a cold way, with eyes like chips of ice. I've already sent word to our contact in the council. If Kael Blackwood becomes a problem, we'll use the blood binding on his precious mate. Force a bond between her and one of our alphas. That will break him. My heart stops. They know. They know about me and Kael. About the mate bond. And they're planning to use it against us. I need to run. Need to warn him. But my body is frozen, locked in place by the horror of what I'm hearing. And the ceremony? Another elder asks. Proceeds as planned. The High Alpha smiles, and it's the cruelest thing I've ever seen. 3 days until the blood moon. 3 more females bound to our control. 3 more families giving us their loyalty in exchange for the honor of seeing their daughters claimed. What about the ones who resist? Like Sera. We make examples of them. His eyes glint with malice. Let it be known what happens to females who reject the sacred bond. Who dare to question tradition? I can't breathe. Can't think. The wrongness of it all is overwhelming, crushing, suffocating. I need to move. Need to run. Need to. My foot catches on loose floorboard. The creak is deafening in the silence. Every head in the council chamber whips toward the door. Toward me. Someone's there, my father says, already moving. I run. I fly through the house, no longer caring about stealth, only about survival. Behind me, I hear shouts, running footsteps, the sound of wolves shifting. The hunting party. Again. But this time, I know too much. This time, if they catch me, it won't just be exile or death. It will be binding. Slavery. Everything I've been fighting against. I burst through the front door and sprint for the forest. The boundary is close. So close. If I can just make it to the tree line, the curse will protect me. But the hunting party is faster. They surround me before I can reach safety, cutting off my escape. My father steps forward, his face twisted with disappointment and rage. "Did you really think you could spy on us and walk away?" he asks. "I know what you've been doing," I spit out. "The blood binding. The false claims. I know everything." "Then you know too much." The high alpha emerges from the pack house, moving with predatory grace. "Restrain her. We'll need her for the ceremony." "She's already mated," my father protests. "The bond can be broken." The high alpha's smile is vicious. "With enough pain and the right magic, any bond can be severed. And then we'll bind her to the strongest alpha we have. Make her the perfect example of obedience." Terror claws at my throat. They're going to break my bond with Kael. Going to force me into slavery. Going to turn me into another hollow-eyed victim. I reach for the mark on my wrist, the silver vines that connect me to him. "Kael," I whisper, not caring who hears. "I need you." The mark flares with brilliant light, and the forest comes alive. The curse doesn't just creep forward. It explodes. Silver light tears through the tree line like a tidal wave of power and rage. The hunting party scatters, wolves yelping and scrambling to get away from the sudden onslaught of magic. But the curse isn't interested in them. It's interested in me. The light wraps around me like protective arms, shielding me from the pack wolves trying to grab me. And through that silver glow, I see him. Kael. He's at the edge of the forest, standing at the boundary he claimed he could never cross. But he's not alone. The curse is with him, around him, through him. They've merged so completely that I can't tell where the male ends and the magic begins. "Touch her," he says, his voice resonating with power that makes the ground tremble, "and I will show you what happens when you threaten what's mine." "You can't cross the boundary," the high alpha shouts, but there's uncertainty in his voice now. "You'll destroy yourself and everything around you." Kael's smile is savage. "I can't. But the curse can." And right now, the curse is very, very angry. The silver light intensifies, and I feel it reaching for me. Not to consume, but to carry. To bring me home. "Hold on," Kael's voice echoes in my mind, intimate and certain. "I've got you." The light lifts me off my feet, and I'm flying through the air over the heads of the shocked pack wolves, straight toward the tree line. Toward Kael. Toward safety. I land in his arms, and he crushes me against his chest, his face buried in my hair. "I felt your fear," he says, his voice shaking. "I felt you calling for me. And I couldn't let them take you. But the curse is mine to control." He pulls back enough to meet my eyes. "I made a deal with it 20 years ago. I gave it my rage, my purpose, my power. But tonight, I gave it something else." "What?" "My mate." His hand comes up to cut my face. "The moment we bonded, you became part of the curse too. Part of me. Which means the forest's protection extends to you. Always." The implication hits me like a physical blow. You can't leave the forest. But I can. Yes, because you're the bridge between us. The connection that allows the curse to reach beyond its boundaries. His eyes burn with intensity. "You're not just my mate, Sera. You're my weapon. My vengeance. My hope." Behind us, the pack wolves are regrouping. The high alpha is shouting orders, preparing for an attack. But Kael doesn't seem concerned. He turns to face them, one arm still holding me against his side, the other raised toward the forest. "You have two choices," he calls out, his voice carrying across the territory. "The first is to walk away. Dismantle the blood-binding system. Free the females you've enslaved. And never enter this forest again. And the second, the high alpha sneers. Kael's smile is sharp enough to cut. The second is that I let the curse have you. All of you. And trust me when I say, it's been very, very hungry." The silver light pulses at his words, and I can feel it. The curse's eagerness. Its desire to consume, to destroy, to punish those who've corrupted the natural order. "You're bluffing," the high alpha says, but his voice wavers. "You wouldn't risk." "I'm not bluffing." Kael's voice drops to something deadly. I'm a male whose true mate was just threatened, whose pack was built on lies and slavery, whose exile was meant to silence him. He takes a step forward, and the curse moves with him. I've spent 20 years becoming one with this darkness. Do you really think I'm afraid to use it? For a long moment, no one moves. The pack wolves look at each other, uncertain. Even the elders seem shaken. Then my father steps forward. She's my daughter, he says quietly. I have a right to discipline her for her disobedience. She was never disobedient. Kael's voice is hard as stone. She was the only one brave enough to see the truth. The only one willing to fight for what was right. He looks at my father with something like pity. You failed her. Not the other way around. My father flinches. For a moment, I see something in his eyes. Regret, maybe. Shame. But then his face hardens again, and he steps back into line with the other elders. Fine. The High Alpha's voice is tight with fury. Keep your cursed forest and your rebel mate. But know this. You've made an enemy today, and we will find a way to break you. You're welcome to try. Kael's smile is all teeth. But I'd suggest you focus on saving your own pack first. Because every female you've bound with dark magic is going to wake up soon. And when they realize what you've done to them, there won't be any curse powerful enough to save you from their rage. He's right. I can feel it through our bond, the truth resonating through the mate connection. The blood binding only works as long as the female believes it's real. But once they know they've been enslaved, once they understand they're not with their true mates, the pack will tear itself apart from the inside. The High Alpha must realize it too, because his face goes pale. You have no proof, he says, but it sounds desperate now. I have my mate. Kael pulls me closer. And she has a voice. A truth that will spread like wildfire once we share it with the world. No one will believe a packless female and an exiled alpha. Maybe not. I finally find my voice, stepping forward even as Kael's arm tightens protectively. But they'll believe the dozens of females who come forward with their stories. They'll believe when the blood binding breaks and all those perfect bonds shatter overnight. I meet my father's eyes. You built your power on slavery and lies. But truth has a way of surviving. Of spreading. Of growing stronger the more you try to suppress it. My father looks away. The High Alpha's hands clench into fists. This isn't over. No, Kael agrees. It's not. But tonight, you go home. And tomorrow, you wake up to a world where your victims know the truth. Where your system is exposed. Where your power is built on sand. The curse pulses in agreement, a living reminder of what waits if they push further. Slowly, reluctantly, the pack wolves retreat. The hunting party disperses. The elders melt back into the shadows. Only my father remains, standing at the boundary, staring at me with an expression I can't read. I'm sorry, he says finally. For not believing you. For not protecting you. It's not enough. It will never be enough. But it's a start. Make it right, I tell him. Free the females. Expose the system. Be better. He nods once, then turns and follows the others into the darkness. When we're finally alone, Kael turns me in his arms, his hands framing my face. That was incredibly reckless, he says, but there's no heat in it. Only wonder. You just threatened a High Alpha. I learned from the best. I smile up at him. Besides, I had backup. Always. He kisses me, deep and claiming and full of promise. You'll always have me, Sera. The curse and I, we're yours. Completely. And I'm yours. I touch the silver mark on my wrist. Completely. We stand there for a long moment, wrapped in each other and the silver light of the curse. Around us, the forest hums with contentment, its purpose fulfilled. What happens now? I ask. Now. Kael's smile is softer than I've ever seen it. Now we go home. We plan. We prepare for the battle that's coming. He tucks a strand of hair behind my ear. And we live. Together. Free. In a cursed forest. In our cursed forest. He corrects, pulling me back toward the cabin. Where you're not crazy or broken or wrong. Where you're exactly what you're meant to be. And what's that? He stops, turns, meets my eyes with such intensity it steals my breath. Mine. The word resonates through the mate bond, through the curse, through every part of me that's been searching for belonging. And for the first time in my life, I feel it. Home. Not a place. Not a pack. But a person. A bond. A choice made freely and fiercely and forever. I kiss him under the silver light, and the forest sings around us, celebrating its anchor and his mate. Tomorrow, we'll fight. We'll expose the corruption. We'll free the enslaved females and watch the old system crumble. But tonight, we're just two wolves who found each other against all odds. Who chose love over fear. Who turned a curse into a blessing. And as Kael carries me across the threshold of our cabin, I know with absolute certainty that I made the right choice. The claiming ceremony wanted to bind me to a stranger through blood magic. But instead, I found my true mate. My chosen alpha. My home. And I chose him right back. The blood moon rises 3 days later, and we're ready. Kael and I stand at the forest boundary, watching as the pack gathers for the claiming ceremony. But this time, it's different. This time, the females know the truth. Because I told them. One by one, over the past 3 days, I've slipped into their dreams through the mate bond. Shown them what I learned. Helped them see the wrongness they've been living in. And tonight, when the High Alpha calls them to the circle, they don't go. They stand. They refuse. They fight. The system doesn't crumble all at once. These things never do. But it's the beginning of the end, and everyone knows it. My sister finds me at the boundary, her eyes clear for the first time in 3 years. "Thank you," she whispers, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you for not giving up on us. Never, I promise. We're pack. All of us. The ones who were bound and the ones who refused. We're in this together." She nods, squeezes my hand, then returns to the group of females forming their own circle. Their own pack. Built on choice and truth and healing. Kael's arm wraps around my waist, pulling me back against his chest. "You did it," he murmurs in my ear. "You saved them." "We did it," I correct, leaning into his warmth. Together. The mate bond hums between us, warm and constant and absolutely certain. This is just the beginning. There will be more battles, more challenges, more nights when the old system tries to claw its way back to power. But we'll face them together. The exiled alpha and his rebel mate. The curse and its anchor. The truth and its voice. And maybe, just maybe, we'll build something better from the ashes. A pack built on choice, not coercion. On freedom, not slavery. On love that's real and bonds that are chosen. It starts here. In a cursed forest. With two wolves who refuse to accept the lies they were told. And it will spread. Like wildfire. Like hope. Like the truth that can never really be silenced. No matter how hard they try. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed Sera and Kael's story, the courage it takes to question everything you've been taught, and the power of finding someone who believes in you when no one else does. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What moment hit you hardest? Was it when Sera first ran into the forest? When Kael revealed his true connection to the curse? Or that moment when she realized her father had failed her? And if you're hungry for more stories like this, fierce females, protective alphas, and the kind of bonds that can't be broken, there's so much more waiting for you. This is just the beginning. Until next time, remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose freedom over safety. And sometimes, the person waiting in the darkness isn't a monster. He's your mate.